Dead Space, everyone's favorite schizophrenia simulator, seems to have had any and all hope dashed for any form of continuation of the franchise. In an interview with Dan Allen Gaming, original lead creatives Glenn Schofield, Christopher Stone, and Brett Robbins revealed that they pitched Dead Space 4 to EA in 2024 and were essentially told to get fucked, buddy. They played Callisto Protocol, it seems.
Well, we didn't go too deep. They just said, "No, we're not interested right now. We appreciate it, blah, blah, blah." And, we know who to talk to, so we didn't go take it any further. And we respect their opinion. They know their numbers and what they have to ship and all that. So
I really don't think this news should come as a surprise to anyone, but it still fucking blows. The Dead Space remake released in 2023 was top tier and top form and seemed like a fantastic step in the right direction for mega publisher EA, but lackluster sales seems to have killed any hopes for a continuation, sequels, and remakes included. What's a bit confusing, however, is EA has never outright claimed that the Dead Space remake sold poorly. Back in April this year, 2024, reporter Jeff Grubb claimed that a remake of Dead Space 2, the best game in the series FYI, was in the conceptual phase at developer Motive Studios, but was in fact cancelled because of bummer sales. What's interesting, however, is EA are a bunch of lying shits, and a source told IGN that the game ultimately performed decent. Additional reporting by Jason Schreier revealed that Motive did spend a few months in the conceptual phase of a direct sequel to the remake, not a remake of Dead Space 2, which would have been interesting to see how they would continue off the remake. However, a proper remake of Dead Space 2 was also considered, but alas, it was never greenlit due to the sales. So, which is it, EA? Did the game do well or not? I don't think it takes a whole lot of brain power to assume that the remake didn't really move mountains in terms of sales. What I would like to say, though, is for a franchise as pivotal and adored as Dead Space, the 3 games we have, including the remake, would be a boon to any company lucky enough to have that IP. When you compare the Dead Space remake to, say, Resident Evil 4 remake or Silent Hill 2, it would make me jealous as an executive to see every other games publisher under the moon have a hit marquee horror title, while I'm over here edging Dead Space fans for eternity. I don't know, maybe that's just what they're into, but man, shit fucking sucks. I just want them back for real. So it seems like Motive is working on an Iron Man game instead of continuing their work on the Dead Space franchise instead, which just tracks so well for the hellscape gaming industry we're in now. Even if Dead Space 4 was greenlit, who knows if the original creators even have any juice left to do the franchise justice. Callisto Protocol had promise, but with a completely fucking botched PC release and a general lack of enthusiasm for the gameplay and characters, who even knows anymore? I like Glenn Schofield. I used to follow him on Twitter, and he would post a lot of cool art and paintings and stuff, which I thought was pretty sick, but I do have to take some points away for making Advanced Warfare and COD World War II.
So we have to go back to Iraq.
I do hope that one day a Dead Space 4 is a possibility, but for now, just with how competitive the AAA landscape is in terms of everything that they're releasing, single-player games, multiplayer games, pretty much fucking everything, man. It just seems like every single release is super cutthroat, because there's a AAA game coming out literally every single month. But what's just kind of super annoying is that it seems like EA was kind of been like on the right direction recently. I mean, It Takes Two was fucking incredible. I played it with my girlfriend, just had an amazing time. And Split Fiction looks great. And I've been a big fan of Respawn's Star Wars games, although Jedi Survivor was so botched on release. So unbelievably botched. Somehow I was able to play through that entire game on PC fine for the most part. But I had so many friends who could not even just get through the game because of how poor it was. And they're still updating the performance on that game. But if we had a proper Dead Space 4 with the original Dead Space creators, I would be down. And I'm sure a lot of other people would be down too. As soon as they see the 4 in the title, they'll be back. We could be living in the timeline where Motive decided to pursue a Dead Space 2 remake instead of working on an Iron Man game. And of course, I'm pretty sure Motive themselves didn't decide that. EA decided for them at gunpoint to make it a fucking Iron Man game. But it just stings so unbelievably bad that we could have had an original entry into the Dead Space franchise, either, well, maybe not original, but a quote-unquote remake of Dead Space 2 or a more straightforward remake of Dead Space 2. But now we're probably going to be getting an open-world Iron Man game. But if I had to pick between two timelines where one, we had either Dead Space 2 remake or Dead Space 4, or the one where we have the Iron Man game, I'm picking the one with Dead Space. And I feel like a lot of people would, but maybe not. There's a lot of fucking babies out there. Okay, alright, I didn't mean that. I think Marvel Games has been putting out a lot of good stuff. I'm just still kind of bitter with how Spider-Man 2 ended. I did not really fuck with that game all too much, not gonna lie. But that's a topic for a whole other video that I'm never gonna make. It just seems like every day I wake up and there's just some debilitating, demoralizing news for something that we could have had, but we're not going to get because executives are just fucking stupid. But what do I know? I'm making a news YouTube video. It's going to be outdated in probably like a week. So what the fuck do I know? So, I don't know. Fuck Dead Space fans, I guess. According to EA, we're never going to get Dead Space 4. Keep coping.